Hello, and welcome. My name is Kat. I am the Nurse Flipper. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. So I spent hours yesterday and last night researching the top selling vintage costume brooches. So these are not gold. There are a few that are sterling, not many, just maybe about 5% of them. But they are not precious metals. These are simply costume jewelry. A lot of this you are going to see is the name brand. So I wanted to share with you so that while you're out at estate sales, garage sales, thrift stores, you will know what to look for to clue you in that it might be worth a lot of money. And there were a lot of names that I did not know. So let's go ahead and get started. If you are new, thank you for joining me. If you haven't been around a while, a few months ago, I picked up a ton of crab brooches and several of them sold for well over $300. There were a couple over $500 and I only paid $2 each. So the potential when you are buying jewelry is endless. And some of these brooches are going to show you exactly that. I am going to start at $225. We are going to work our way up to those that sell for thousands of dollars, which to me is just insane, the thought of spending that. But the brands that I am going to show you, I saw over and over again while I was doing research. So when I buy jewelry, I typically buy jewelry in lots. And ones where companies or people might not know the names and the value of things is where you can get really, really lucky. But in order to get lucky, you have to develop that eye and kind of know what you're looking for to see that there might be a lot of value in an item. If you're not able to research or if it's in a big lot, that is where being able to eyeball and pick out these expensive pieces comes in handy. So we are actually going to start off with a brooch that was sold by a member of mine, Mary Garcia. We were messaging last night. I told her I just finished doing all of my research for this video and she said, oh, I just had a great sale. I had stopped at $250 because I was hours in at that point. So I didn't even get into all of the ones that sell for $100 to $250. So Mary sent me this picture. This was actually a hand-me-down to her. So she has no cost into this. This brand is Hattie Carnegie. So you can see she used turquoise, cabochon, amber, signed, brooch, pin, and estate. Estate is one of the keywords that I absolutely love to use on these brooches because I feel like people search for estate brooches. So Mary did great with the photographs here. You can see up close the Hattie Carnegie mark, and I will actually tell you that one of my high selling for over $200 crab pins was an unmarked Hattie Carnegie. So how did I figure that out? Well, I figured it out with Google Lens, and that is a free app you can get on your phone. Take a picture of the item and look for similar. I found the exact pin that I had, and then I'm gonna step back. I'm wearing my Worth Point. This says Treasure Hunt. I'm wearing my Worth Point shirt. So when I was researching all of those brooches, a lot of them were not on eBay and had not been on eBay in the last 90 days. So that is where researching comes in and using Worth Point, which is a paid service. I do have a link in the description if you would like to join. I have been a member over there for several years, and just selling one item for several $100s pays for the whole year. So Hattie Carnegie, you are going to see some more of as we continue in this video. Next is this micro mosaic brooch. So I kept buying micro mosaics hoping that I was going to find a higher dollar one. I did not, but I had not done research on which ones were selling high. So this one actually is not marked, and this one, what sold it so high, I believe, is it was a fleur-de-lis. It had the dove in the middle, you can see. And I'm showing you the back because most of the micro mosaics that I found did have Italy on the back of them. and this one does not have it. So this one sold for $235. So from what I was told, with micro mosaics, the smaller the pieces of glass, the older the pieces. So that is one way with micro mosaics to tell. Some micro mosaic picture frames have done well. So I feel like the ovals and the circles are more bread and butter item, like a $20 to $35 item. But if you find something like this in the fleur-de-lis shape, definitely pick it up. Next, this one is Vendome, and I was not familiar with this brand. You can see, and I feel like the massive pink dome, those are keywords, the massive and the dome. And then they've got Rhinestone Vintage Pen or Brooch. This one sold for $249.99. Here is the back. So what I really want you guys to focus on, the majority of these, I would say over 90% are branded. So you really want to look for a name on the back, and some of them it's obscure and it's not going to jump out at you. This one's right in the middle. You can definitely see it. So that $250 sale is amazing. Next is Hollycraft. So I last night was on Don, the auction professor's channel, and Hollycraft is one of his favorite brands of vintage jewelry. So I was not surprised when this came up when doing my research. This one is a Hollycraft glass rhinestone brooch pin and earring set. So sets is definitely something that I look out for when I am sourcing, whether it is a necklace and a brooch, like this is a brooch and earrings. And I think one of the things here is that this is glass. So in my experience, a lot of the glass brooches do sell a little bit higher, and this one sold for $250. Here is the back. This one probably would have been a little bit harder to read. It does say Hollycraft, but in my experience, some of these stamps, and depending on where they put them, it's very, very hard to make out. I've had to ask my friends, what does this say? And you know, sometimes you have to investigate a little bit more. Next, this brand, I will tell you, it's out there. And the reason I know is because I found one of these. I found a brooch and earring set at my little local flea market. I live in a tiny town, very rural, in the middle of nowhere. And I found a brooch and earring set from Florenza, which is what I'm getting ready to show you. I paid $20. Mine sold for over $200 in less than a week. This one here is actually just the brooch. So this is a Maltese Cross and purple and blue. I think purple and blue tends to do well. Here is the back of that. You can see the Florenza stamped on my brooch and earrings. Florenza was very, very clear. So keep an eye out for Florenza and watch for those purple and blue stones. All right, this is another brand that I had not heard of. This one is Armorel, but I will tell you guys, something in this title that you're getting ready to see is something I always watch for. So if you see here, this is a vintage Amorel, sorry, not Armorel, Amore, like amore, like love. Amorel. Germany pen brooch signed, huge rhinestone filigree enamel, colorful. So the keyword I am noticing here is Germany. When I see stuff that's made in Germany, made in France, made in Italy, made in Austria, I am going to pick it up if it is cheap. So this one here sold for $259.99. Here is the back. You can see there's a little heart for the Amorel, and they're also, I zoomed in here for you to see, this says made in West Germany. So even if I did not know that brand, Amorel, and I'm sure I'm gonna mess up pronunciations throughout this video, but even if I didn't know that brand, I would have been flagged to pick that up because it said made in West Germany. So as we go through this video, I'm gonna try to point out stuff that I want to stick in your head, that if you see these, you need to at least give them a second look. Next, and I have heard of Givenchy. This is a signed vintage Givenchy lucite. So lucite is really big right now. This is lucite red heart, grippoi, brooch, pens, and angels. $255 it sold. Here is the back. You can see it does say Givenchy right behind the pen. So again, you would know to look up that name if you see that it is marked. this next one caught me by surprise. The brand really caught me by surprise because I did not expect to see her jewelry in some of these top selling. This is a vintage Joan Rivers Gripois style pen brooch lucite Maltese Cross. And it does say jelly. So you're gonna see as we go up higher, Jelly Belly pens sell for a lot of money. So I'm not sure if that's why or what, but this one sold for $254.95. You can see on the back there on the bottom, it does say Joan Rivers. So again, you would be able to look this up. Google Lens is your friend. Worth Point is absolutely amazing when it comes to this higher dollar stuff and doing research. So definitely be sure to use those. All right, next up is a Joseph of Hollywood. I have one of these, so I'm going to show you, not the one that sold, but the only way I know this is Joseph of Hollywood, and this is mine with the crab and the black pearl, which is kind of cool. So on the back, mine is missing the marking. So how do I know? Well, I got 3 of these, and the other 2 had the Joseph of Hollywood stamps on them, and so I knew that this one was as well. I'm trying to see because originally I thought I remembered seeing where like the placard had fell off, and I think there's a little bit of glue there right above the pen. You can see where the Joseph of Hollywood fell off. So I only paid $2 for this. I expect to get over 100. I would have got a lot more if that name was still on it. I have already sold the ones that did have the name. All right, so this Joseph of Hollywood, this is a cherub star rhinestone brocher pen. So the star has the cherub in the middle. It sold for $259. And you can see here on the bottom, the Joseph is in cursive. It was the same way on the other 2 crab brooches I had. And you see here, it's a little disc that is glued on. Mine fell off, unfortunately. But keep an eye out for Joseph of Hollywood. In my experience, these do sell pretty high. Next is a vintage signed Regency. So I was thinking, like, they're saying this is Hollywood Regency jewelry. But when I clicked in, and you can see here, again, another set, brooch and earrings, and they didn't even put earrings in the title if you see here, set with cabochons. So cabochons is another thing that I see repeatedly in these higher ones. So here is the back of these, and they do say Regency there just to the right of the pen. So again, another name I was not really familiar with, but this set sold for $263. Now, I was pretty surprised. I knew some Trifari could do well, but you're gonna see as we go up higher, Trifari can do very, very well. So do not neglect to look at those Trifari pieces. So this one here is a vintage large crown Trifari Aurora Borealis. Aurora Borealis stones is another thing that really can sell these brooches. It is a great keyword. And you see here starburst, that's another word that I like to use a lot. And I will show you at the end again some of the pens and brooches that I picked up in Pennsylvania last week. I didn't score any of these hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but I do have a lot that are about $50 that I will show you at the end of this video. So here you can see this one does have the traditional Trifari stamp there on one of the petals. And again, $269 for a Trifari brooch. All right, here is another micro mosaic. So I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to tell you why I think it sold for so high. This says Antique Victorian Micro Mosaic Flower Bar. So the bars, for one, you do not see very often. And this one, I'm going to show you the back here. You can see the clasp. And the clasp is just a little clip, and I'm not good at knowing the names of the different clasps of jewelry, but that style of clasp typically indicates that it is an older piece of jewelry. And again, another micro mosaic that sold for $270. I came across a ton of them. I don't remember seeing any bars or fleur-de-lis, but now I know a little bit more information of what to look for when I'm looking at micro mosaics to give me an idea of what I might think about paying up for. All right, this next one is absolutely gorgeous. This is a vintage Giuliana. This is another name you are going to see over and over. Now, it said that it was D&E Rhinestone Giuliana, but I could not find where there was a signature on the back of this. So I think there are a lot of Giuliana pieces that are unmarked. This one, again, rare, vintage, rhinestone, blue and green. You want to put your colors in there. Intaglio brooch, sold for $275. This brooch here on the screen is kind of classic for what I am looking for when I'm looking at brooches. I'm looking for big, I'm looking for sparkly, and I'm looking for color. Now, I will pick up some clear ones, and you're going to see a couple of clear ones I picked up. All right, next, this totally caught me by surprise. I had no clue that these things were worth so much. This is a vintage Bakelite mountain climbing man brooch holding a rope, pick, and axe. So these people have their keywords in line. They did great with keywording this listing. This sold for $275. Here is the back. Look, there is no marking on this pen. It is just a vintage Bakelite brooch, and I'm going to show you another one, and there were multiples of these, so keep an eye out for these vintage Bakelite brooches. All right, another Joan Rivers. Surprised me. This one is a Joan Rivers Lily of the Valley brooch. So I saw multiple of this exact brooch that sold high. This one sold for $277.50. And again, here is the stamp of Joan Rivers. So you would be able to look this up if you found this while you were sourcing. All right, kind of in line with my crabs. This is a lobster. It's a lobster. It's Rabaeus, copper lobster crawfish modernist. Modernist is a keyword there. I did have some copper brooches and with my crab brooches, and modernist is definitely a good keyword. Signed rare 1940s. So here's a close-up. This is just a copper lobster. I had some copper crabs in my lots, and here you can see with this one, this would have been a little bit harder to figure out because the signature is actually under where the pen for the brooch came on. I would hope in this situation, I would probably search for like copper lobster brooch, see if I could find any history on that. And I would also look for Google Lens, because I don't think from what I'm seeing in this picture that I would have known that name. This is another that really stands out to me as something that would catch my eye, whether it was in a lot, laying on a table, in a case. This I would pay attention to. So this is a vintage white and green rhinestone. This one is Kramer, which I am familiar with that brand. This one sold for $273. Again, here it is zoomed in so that you can see the marking. So these are really easy to identify in most cases. You're gonna know the name, and what you would search for is the brooch. And I typically, if I have something that I feel like it is outstanding, I will search for the name, brooch, and I will sort by highest, and I will look for my brooch and just kind of go down the list. You could also put different characteristics, like with this one that I just showed you, it's green and white, so you can put colors to kind of narrow it down to make your research a little bit easier. This one is not branded, so there are only a few in here that are not. I will tell you, most of these higher ones are branded or they're being attributed to a designer. So as far as the unmarked stuff selling really high, unless you get into actual gold, like 10, 12, 14 karat gold, or you get into some really fancy sterling ones, you're probably going to need to find named brooches if you want to bring in these hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But there are always exceptions. This is a dandelion vintage one. I'm showing you the back here because it is not marked. This is not marked. They put dandelion. They didn't use a ton of keywords, and honestly, this one kind of caught me off guard. It sold for almost $300. All right, this is another unmarked piece. This is a vintage costume enamel top hat wearing. Here go your keywords again, guys. Keywords are super important. Top hat wearing insect bug. Jelly belly. Jelly belly is key here. Jelly Belly brooches sell really high. Here is the back of this one, again showing that it is not marked. If you look, the Jelly Belly is simply the stone that is in the middle of this bug. All right, here's another one. I was not familiar with this name, so that's where doing all of this research, I learned a ton. I actually went and spent about $500 on a jewelry auction. I got several of a designer I'm going to show you here coming up in the hire. It made me want to go find this stuff. That's the hard thing with doing this research. And Brad told me, stop, like, stop, you have enough. And I was like, no, it's jewelry, it's small. He's like, 500 small things still add up. And he's right, he's right. So hopefully I will make some room soon. So this one is a vintage Fabrice Paris butterfly moth pearl brooch. It says sign. So again, something that would have flagged me to look at this. Here is the back. It says Fabrice, but it also says Paris. And that is the thing that for me, even if I didn't know that name, if I saw Paris on a brooch, I would pick it up. So this one, again, $300 sale. We are getting higher and higher, and you are not going to believe as we go. All right, next is another Trifari. Now, here I want to point out to you, Animal brooches sell. You already know I've made thousands of dollars off of crab brooches. I bought for $2 each. But this one is a bird. So this is a water bird drinking from Lily Pond. Vintage signed Trifari. $300 this one sold for. And here is it up close. And I actually did not see Trifari written on this. So it says it's signed, but I couldn't even locate it from their pictures. So I definitely recommend when you are doing pictures, zoom in on the signature so that people can see it. I figure most people buying these are probably going to be somewhat familiar with the brooches, but I always think it's best to show that signature up close. All right, another name I was not familiar with. This one is a vintage Penino. This is one of the few that I did show that are sterling. I tried not to get too many sterling and gold in here because when you are buying on auctions, they tend to separate out the sterling and gold. Those sell for a lot higher, so it's a little bit harder to get those cheap. This is a vintage Penino, sterling silver red, double, here's your keywords, double flower bow, large pin brooch. Here is the back of this one. You can see that it says Penino and it says sterling, and it sold for $289. All right, we have another Trifari. Almost all of these names I'm showing you are ones that came up repeatedly. I know I said that before, but the reason that I'm showing you these is because these are ones I feel like you are probably more likely to find when you are out. So this is a vintage crown Trifari, faux turquoise, ruby designer. Now here's where I think they did very well. They put bonsai tree. This is like a flower bouquet, but they got creative. Sold for $285. Here is the back of the pen. You can very, very clearly see that it is Trifari. So a lot of Trifari sells very, very cheap, but in every name brand, in every category, there are going to be those few that stand out and sell for quite a bit. And that's why you should research. I do not recommend over researching. If you can't find it, price where you'd be happier, put it on auction. If it's branded, let it go. But don't over research, because you might spend a ton of time and find out it's a $10 brooch, and then you've just wasted 2 hours on something that's $8 in profit. And personally, I want to make more than $4 an hour. All right, next is another name that I am familiar with because I got a crab brooch from them. This one is a Boucher honeycomb and bee rhinestone brooch. It sold for $294.95. Again, with the animals, guys, animals sell. This one you can see is very, very clearly marked Boucher on the back. And again, I want to point out to you guys, none of these are fine metals. They are not fine metals. This is all costume jewelry. Right, this next one is another that is not marked, and they had a great picture of the clasp, which I think dates it. So I think you guys pay close attention to this one. This one says antique 1920s Art Deco purple faceted crystal pave rhinestone brooch. So here's the back showing the clasp on this one. And I think that's what's dating it. So it's like where you just push it down and it pops up into the little holder. Dates it to 1920s, and this one sold for $294. Here is another vintage Giuliana etched flower blue rhinestone pen. I personally would have used Peacock in this. When I see blue and green, I think of Peacock, so that is a keyword I would have thrown in. Here it is zoomed in close. You can see the amazing detail on these flowers. And again, I did not see a signature. It says that it's Juliana, but it doesn't say it's signed, and I did not see a signature, and this one sold for $299.99. Another really, really cool unmarked brooch that sold for $300. $299.99 to be specific. This is a vintage glass blue man in the moon face set in brass. $300 for this one. Just a man in the moon. Here is the back. It is a brass back. It does have the little turnstile, so I don't think it's overly old. Not marked, sold for $300. So keep an eye out. Again, this is something that I think the keywords had a lot to do, putting man in the moon, and that one sold for an amazing amount. All right, a brand I didn't know, but something else I do very well. I had to put this one in there. So this is a Nicola, which I'm not familiar with that brand, but it's a crab brooch. And this one, they put Cancer crab enamel rhinestones. Again, with my crab brooches, Cancer was something I use because if people are searching for a zodiac symbol, crabs are for Cancer. Zodiac symbol. I think that's an important keyword. Here on the back, you can see clearly underneath the pen, it does say D Nicola, so this would have been very, very easy to identify. Up next, this is another brand that I am not familiar with. This is Starret, and this is an aqua clear. Now, this one, I think one of your important keywords is going to be Austrian crystals. It does say silver tone. It does say signed. It sold for $315. Here it is zoomed in close so you can see the work. Now, this one, if you look at this signature, half of it's worn off. So you got to look really, really close on some of these, as I said before, because a lot of them are not overly obvious. Some are, but not all are. All right, this one has multiple things that you would look for. Here we have a vintage Bakelite Pluto pen. So you've got Bakelite, you've got Pluto. It is very, very obviously vintage / retro. They are attributing it to the 1930s, 1940s. It's only 2.5 inches, and it sold for $325. Here is the back. Again, you can see that little really simple clasp. This is not marked. It's just a simple Bakelite brooch. And I will admit to you guys, I was not looking at Bakelite brooches before, but I definitely will now. All right, another unsigned one that sold for $325. Now again, here is your keyword: estate sale, vintage rhinestone apple brooch pen. Pretty simple, but throwing that estate in, I think helped. Here is a close-up so you can see this in absolutely beautiful. And these are almost like the Jelly Belly stones. And then here is the back, and you will see again, it is not marked at all, and it sold for over $300. All right, this is a classic one that I would look for and pick up. Very, very like my style of what would kind of call out to me. This is a vintage Trifari cluster pink green, and again it's a set rhinestone brooch pin and earrings, sold for $325. Here is the back of that pin showing the Trifari mark. So again, more Trifari that is making good money. Next is a Weiss. Dalton is waving hello back there. Next is a Weiss pen, and I actually just shipped out a Weiss pen today. Mine unfortunately did not sell for $350. Mine sold for $50, but I only paid $5, so it was still a good profit. So this vintage Weiss is blue rhinestone. It says 3 tiers, so it's multi-level, and you can see here on the back with Weiss on this one as well as the one that I shipped out today. It is in an oval shape right in the middle of the back of the pen. Very, very easy to identify. I'm going to show you some that are very similar to this that I picked up while I was up in Pennsylvania. This is a beautiful, beautiful pen. Mine are not this exquisite, unfortunately. So this is a vintage Austria signed fuchsia, pink, dark green. Again, there are your colors. Now, I do think that these people might have got that much money because they put Shriner style in the title. It is debatable whether or not you should do that because you're kind of keyword spamming. I'm gonna not take a stance on that at all. I have put like Murano style occasionally in some of my listings, but again, it is keyword spamming, so keep that in mind. So this one was not marked on the back, or at least they didn't show me that it was marked, but it sold for $350. I'm gonna assume it said made in Austria, and I will show you on mine exactly what I saw that made me pick them up. All right, here is another Austria one. Vintage Austria, signed inverted, shades of blue, rhinestone, and again, they use Shriner style. So here is the back of this one. You can see it says made in Austria. I will show you mine. They have that same exact mark, and this one sold for $350. If you're not looking for Bakelite, I hope these make you start looking. So this one is a Bakelite hanging heart, cherry red. This looks so simple to me. It sold for $345. Here it is up close of the back. Again, it is not marked. It's not marked. It's a Bakelite heart pen, $345. And I'm not familiar with, this one is Warner. This one is a vintage Warner gold tone yellow enamel night and day mechanical, and I'm assuming this one, the flower opens and closes. This one sold for $355. You can see on the back, this is another one that marks it in an oval. It says Warner, would be very, very easy to identify. All right, here's another unmarked, and I don't really know why it sold for so much. This was an auction, and a lot of these higher dollar ones were on auction. I just want to say that. So if you find something you feel is rare and kind of superb and outstanding, auction might be the best way to go with these vintage brooches. So this one sold for $373. Here is the back. Again, not marked. Not sure why it went so high. I don't know, but I wanted to show you just in case you see something like this. Okay. This is the brand that I was lucky enough, I think I won 5 pieces. I'm hoping there are some hidden because I did win some jewelry lots, and this estate auction, the person was very obviously a Miriam Haskell collector. So this says rare early vintage. This is not a brooch necessarily, it's a hat pin. It's a lapel stick pin. Now, this seller did themselves a disservice, and I'm going to show you why. I do want you to see this sold for $375. Here is a zoomed in close-up of the back of the pen, and I can very clearly see on the back of this pen it says Haskell. So they put it as unsigned. It was signed, and I think they probably could have got more money for this if they had notated that. Another brand that I am not familiar with, this one is Nolan Miller. This is a stone burst pen, ruffle brooch, mint in the box. Very loud, very blingy, very shiny. Here is the back zoomed in. It does say Nolan Miller. It says Thailand. So again, would be very, very easy to identify. All right, we are climbing up in value pretty fast, right? Pretty fast. This is a Stanley Hagler, and he did this in cooperation with Ian Geller. I don't know how to say that, but I saw a ton of these two in combination selling for high money. This one sold for $395. I do want to show you the back here. Again, you can clearly read this. It's stamped Stanley Hagler, New York City. It also has Ian's name on it. With this one here on the back, if you see, you can see the wires where they actually connected the pieces and that they were hand done. So this is an outstanding one, and again, almost $400 for this, and a name that I did not know. All right, this one is another Austria one. The key with this one is it's 4.5 inches. Big brooches bring big money. This one is a vintage purple glass freeform flower brooch pen, sold for $400. Here is the back. It simply says made in Austria. Again, I'm going to show you a few I picked up that say the same thing. I don't think any of mine are going to go this high, but it's really good to know that they can. And I think, again, with this one, it was because it was 4 inches. This one I have come across in my members only live sourcing. So if you don't know, I have a $9.99 channel membership, and I look for items for you by your zip code. We do that every other Saturday, and we have ran across this Giuliana watermelon that I'm getting ready to show you several times. I also want to take a minute out, so definitely check my channel memberships. You can hit join below any video. Sometimes you have to go on the computer, it won't show it on the phone. So I have my different channel memberships that help support the channel and help me bringing videos to you. And also, don't forget to subscribe. Check and make sure you're subscribed. Turn the bell notification on. 40% of people who watch me are not subscribed. So make sure you're subscribed. I would appreciate it. All right, here is this Juliana. This one is watermelon rhinestone. Again, this is another set. This one's a bracelet and a brooch. The colors on this are insane. We have come across these in our member sourcing. This one sold for $400. So I do want to take a minute out to say, if you find some of these, you might have to pay up. You're not going to get them cheap. You might like my $2 crab brooches that I got, but sometimes you're going to have to pay up. But doing the research and knowing they will sell for that high makes it worth it to pay up. All right, this one is another Stanley Hagler and Eon St. Geiler. This one is a panda, pretty cool. This one I almost would have pegged as like cheaper, I feel like. It says Garden Couture, sold for $395. Again, here's the back, very, very clearly stamped. Again, you can see the wires where they have hand done it. And this is just a beautiful piece, but I don't know that I would have pegged it as a $400 brooch. Here's some more Miriam Haskell. I'm so excited. I'm getting Miriam Haskell. I've only had one Miriam Haskell piece ever, so I'm excited to be getting multiple pieces. So this one is a Miriam Haskell purple brooch, silver filigree, Frank Hess. It says seed beads, signed 1950. Look at the colors, the purple, the blue, the silver. Again, I feel like I see purple, blue, silver a lot in the higher dollar ones. And here's the back. Again, you can see this is very, very clearly signed Miriam Haskell, and this one sold for just shy of $400. This one is not signed. This is a vintage brooch, pink, large, blue, and pink. The big thing is it is large, blue, and pink. Again, don't know why it went so high. I believe this was another auction. It was. It had 13 bids, went to $413. Here is the back showing that it was not signed, and it went for over $400. Another Miriam Haskell piece. This one is a Miriam Haskell jelly cabochon. Again, the jelly belly stuff, jelly belly pins or beads. Maltese statement brooch, 2.75 inches, sold for $425. Here is your back, very, very clearly marked Miriam Haskell. With most of these pieces, it's going to be luck if you're going to find them for cheap, because a lot of people, especially collectors, are going to know the value. But you might come upon an estate that it was mainly one thing, and they're like, oh, we have some jewelry to sell. They throw it into lots. You are able to get it cheap. Or if people inherited stuff, not everyone thinks like a reseller, you know, so they're like, oh, this is some old costume jewelry brooch, I'm gonna charge $5 for it. So it's definitely possible to find these, so don't think you can't. So next is another Panetta. This one says abstract brooch pendant, jade clear glass. This one sold for $430. Here is the back. Again, very, very clearly marked Panetta, and you would be able to identify it. All right, I have actually found some of these as well. This is Schiaparelli. I've not found them this high dollar. This one is a Maltese Cross brooch, sold for $449. Really, really pretty pinks. If you notice, the buyer or the seller did not put the pinks in the title. I would have. Here's a close-up again showing that you would be able to identify this very easily. It shows Schiaparelli and over a $400 sale. Giuliana. Again, I think these Giulianas aren't marked, because I don't think I ever found the back of one showing it signed. So this is a Juliana brooch. Again, glass beads, guys. Glass beads I think is important. Crystal open back gold tone, sold for $460. You can see the little details here on the flowers again. That is very similar to the other Juliana that I showed earlier that sold high. All right, here's another starret. Didn't know the name. Vintage Estate 40s, flower sign starret, rhinestone pin brooch, $455. Here again, marked clearly, says starret, so amazing, amazing sale there. All right, another Eisenberg. I, again, have found multiple Eisenbergs. This one is clear, guys, and I'm going to show you. I did pick up a couple of clear ones myself. This is a fur clip. It says it's heavy. I think that's kind of important. This sold for $495. I do want to point out this is another piece that is sterling. However, my Weiss today came with some sterling pins that were clear rhinestones that I got for $5 each. So I feel like a lot of people don't value these clear stones as highly. Here again is the back where you can see it is marked Eisenberg very, very clearly. Again, almost $500 for this clip. Here is some Coro, and you're gonna see a Coro that I found after I finish showing you all of these. This one is a vintage designer signed Coro craft. Owls, animals again, animals, animals, animals. This is another fur clip, sold for $495. You can see on the back here, this one is a sterling Coro. So again, that is probably what made this go up so high. And $500 though, $500. Sterling is not super expensive to buy when I see it on estate sales, so definitely keep your eye out for stuff like this. Another Bakelite, another Bakelite. I know I get loud because I get excited. Bakelite, Macarthur heart, vintage pen, 1940s, keys to my heart. $500 for a little heart pen, not marked. Very, very, very high sale. All right, here's another Vendome. This one is absolutely beautiful. This is one with lucite. So again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again, lucite is hot. This vintage Vendome lucite petals rhinestone brooch sold for $520. Here's the back again. Very, very easy to read, very easy to identify. All right, next is a vintage large. This is another Boucher ruby red and rhinestone layered flower brooch. You can see up close here, just an amazing, amazing work, and the back is marked Boucher. I'm going to start moving a little faster because it's been a long time and I'm only at $550 and I have ones going up well over $1,000. So next is a Miriam Haskell brooch. This one is a Gripoy glass dangle pin. Here it is up close. Beautiful, beautiful work on this. Again, here is the back. It is signed Miriam Haskell. Watch out for her work. We've got a vintage signed John Mazer costume jewelry, giant enameled rhinestone brooch and pin. This one sold for $560. I did want to zoom in here and show you. This one is missing stones and it still sold for $560. This is another signature that's kind of obscure. It's small down there. If you see, it says Mazer. Here is another Mazer one, early fabulous exotic bird. Birds, birds, birds. Guys, watch out for animals. This one sold for $565. And again, here is the back, small inscribed Mazer. Next is a Nicola brooch. This one, another Zodiac one. This one says Zodiac Virgo. Vintage gilt enamel rhinestone, signed A2, sold for $589. Here it is up close showing the Nicola, so keep an eye out for those. All right, more Hattie Carnegie, guys, more Hattie Carnegie. This one, they did use the word peacock, and again, as I said, when I get blue and green stuff, I almost always will put peacock in it if it is jewelry. So this is a Hattie Carnegie Peacock eyeglass brooch pen, vintage blue-green clear, sold for $585. Here is the back, really, really easy to spot and marked saying Hattie Carnegie. All right, $599 for this one. Again, France would have given it away for me. This is a Rare France Runway Vintage Huge Givenchy Gold Basket Rose and Pearl, sold for $599. Here it is up close. You can see Paris, New York, and Givenchy on the back, so keep an eye out for those. And this one did not have a mark on the back. This one was $599.99. This is Lawrence Verba, VRBA. It is signed on the back. Again, $600 for this brooch. All right, so these are the unmarked brooches that I got up in Pennsylvania. This one is a really pretty daisy enamel. It'll probably only sell for about $20. I might, after doing research, put this one, which is gorgeous. It is, again, this is my little non-sign pile here. I might put this one up on auction, a Maltese Cross. And you can see, I love the filigree. So this is a really pretty filigree in Rhinestone. Flowers, we covered, flowers sell. Now this, because it's so big and blingy, it is clear, but again, even with it being clear, with it being big, it should sell. And there's another one. This one you can actually see, I believe was handmade. You can kind of see the plate under there where they attach these. So this one I might have to research a little bit. And all of these I did pay $5 for. This one is cool because it does not have the foiling on the back. You can see through to the stone. So that one, especially with the black, is really pretty. This one I thought was a brooch when I got it, but it turns out it's actually a pendant, but it's a very, very pretty purple there. And then this flower one. And again, some of these, because I almost feel like these are like the Jelly Belly stones. I might put this up on an auction. And then this one I believe is crystals, just by the look of it. This one is absolutely stunning. And again, I haven't done Google Lens to like try and identify any of these. This one is not marked. Another one I believe is probably Austrian crystals. Like, look at that, like, shine. And then this one is amazing. This is a hand painted bird. It is signed JM down there. Just really, really nice brooch. And then this clear one I got, because I know I can keyword it, with Starburst. Another one, again, not marked. Now, these are my marked ones that I got. Some of them I have actually, do you see? I have a whole bag full. So some of these will be on my jewelry auction this coming Wednesday. This one I might put up on auction. This one's pretty impressive. This one is marked Austria there, you see on the bottom right. The only thing with this one is the clasp is actually broken there, but this is an absolutely beautiful piece. This is another one marked Austria, and you saw some of those high dollar ones. So there's the Austria down there on the bottom. Another Austria one. And you can see how these crystals really, really sparkle. And they're, oh, actually this one's Monet. I was thinking it was Austria. This one's a Monet. And then this one is a West Germany. I actually found comps over $50. You can see there on the back, the little circle, made in West Germany. So this one should go for at least $50. This one is a marked, just clear rhinestone. This one is a Lisner. Not super high on some of these. These I'm hoping to get like 40 to 50, if not more. Really pretty, like tiger stone cameo. These are marked West Germany, and I do have the earrings. So again, I do look for the sets when I'm sourcing. This one reminds me of the Cabochons. Really, really pretty blue with the Aurora Borealis. This one, I have the hiccups. This one is a signed Coro. And then these enamel, I really like enamel stuff myself, but they're really pretty. And you can see here, they say Catherine Popesco, France. I'm hoping to get 40 to 50 for them. There are two of them. This is the second one. And then here, this is another set. This one's got the brooch as well as the earrings. This one is Star, I believe is the name on this one. I don't think they're Starret. You can see there, they say Star. So really, really pretty ones. And then here, this is actually Sarah Coventry. I really like this one because it's actually a brooch inside a brooch. And you can see both are marked Sarah Coventry, and they have 2 pens. And then this is a feather fan. Those are some keywords I would use on that one. This one is Coro. And then I cannot read the name, but this one is signed really pretty Aurora Borealis with the flower there. I just cannot make out what it says. It is signed though. And then this one I wanted to show you guys. I definitely pick up the animal pens. This one is Liz Claiborne, but I think it's really cool with like the amber kind of elephant there. And then I picked up this kitty cat. There are a ton more I picked up. You will see a lot of them on my sale Wednesday. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I will have part 2. All right, guys, I'm going to stop and I'm going to do a part 2 to this video that I will put out for you on Wednesday next week, because I'm already at a very, very long point. So next Wednesday, keep an eye out for ones that sell for $600 and more. I did so much research. I didn't realize how much time it would be to go over them. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. We will do a part 2 to this video. I hope you learned a lot. Let me know down in the comments if there are some brands that you weren't aware of. I look forward to seeing my members Monday for our eBay store reviews. I will also have a what sold video up on Monday. Our sales are doing great. I look forward to seeing you guys then. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Dalton, would you like to say bye? Dalton says bye. Bye, guys.